Good morning, ladies. Welcome to today's Thrive Chapter Spotlight. So today we are in 1 Samuel 21, and we are also reading in Psalm 7. So I want to talk to you today a little bit, not necessarily about all of the parts of the story, but about trust. And in 1 Samuel 21, we just finished learning all about the friendship of Jonathan and David. And here we see David fleeing from Saul. Saul has sent out the message. He wants David killed, and he's after him. He's sending his guards after him. So David is trying to escape Saul. And we see David here, and he is going to the king Ahimelech, and he probably, we can imagine how David looks right now after all that he's been through. He is probably tear stained. He is probably very tired looking. He probably just doesn't look very safe to be around, maybe almost like a vagabond. And the king kind of looks at him with a little bit of query, wondering, why are you here? Why are you here all by yourself? And David makes such a mistake. He lies to him. And, there's times in our life that we can try to excuse the lies that we tell, or we may say, oh, well, it's just a little white lie. It's okay. But it's not okay. It's never okay. And we can make up as many excuses as we want. We can even look at David's situation here and try to excuse him and say, well, he had a reason for lying. And while he very well may have, we can't excuse his lies, because that just simply can't be. And the consequences of his lies were very, very sad. And he has to face those consequences now. No matter what, he can't go back on those. So have you ever felt conviction over something, whether it was lying or maybe it was something else that you did that you knew was wrong, when in all reality you should have just trusted the Lord? And when you go down through 1 Samuel 21, he's talking about how David here, he sees, I think it's Doeg or Dog, the Edomite, and he is a chief herdsman for Saul, and he's there where David is, and David's scrambling around like, okay, I need to find something to guard myself. So he asks him, is there not here on hand a spear or a sword? And he gives him the very sword that he slayed Goliath with. That is so amazing. Not the sword that he slayed him with, but Goliath's sword. So he gives him the sword of the man that he slayed. And here's what I'm thinking as I'm reading this. Poor David, he has been through so much already, as we hear through this story and as we've read so far in Samuel. And, David didn't have to lie. If he would have just stopped and remembered what God had done for him when he slayed Goliath, maybe if he would have looked at the sword first, he wouldn't have had to lie. Maybe if he would have just stopped and prayed. And that's really what he should have done in the circumstances and the situation that he was in. David should have just prayed. He should have just trusted the Lord and said, okay, Lord, I trust you to handle this, because I know you've gotten me out of situations before. I know that you've had my back before. And he didn't need to lie. But here, like I said, we see that David has lost confidence. I think he's lost confidence in God and in the fulfillment of God's purpose for his life. So in 1 Samuel 21, it's really all about trust and how David should have trusted God. And we're going to see that later. But when we go into the second part of our reading for today in Psalm 7, it's almost like David, because David wrote the Psalms, and it's almost like he now is seeing what he should have done later. And kind of like hindsight is 2020. This plead for deliverance for David is almost what he should have done back in 1 Samuel. So here he's pleading with the Lord, and he's saying, "Oh my Lord, in you I put my trust. Save me from all those who persecute me and deliver me." So here he is saying, I put my trust in you. Now, between 1 Samuel and Psalm 7, a lot is going to happen. So there are a lot of things that David is going through, and that the Bible is going to tell us, and more occurrences that we're going to read about. But in Psalm 7, he is actually talking about the Benjamite. And, he's saying, Lord, and I wonder how many of us have done this, Lord, please, don't let me judge these people. Don't let me judge or hurt my enemy. But instead, Lord, I just pray and I put my trust in you that you're going to take care of me. No matter what comes against me, you are going to take care of this. And that is what David should have done back in 1 Samuel. So I just want to leave you with this thought today. As we read today in 1 Samuel 21 and we read in Psalm 7, I want to leave you with this thought. Where do you put your trust? Do you put your trust in a mighty sword? Do you put your trust in your husband? Do you put your trust in your pastor? And it's okay to trust these people, but where is your ultimate trust? Where does your trust lie? Because that is our main focus, and that is very important in our walk with Christ. Where does our trust lie? We shouldn't trust the things that are here, the material things. We need to put our trust in Jesus. So I pray that you will continue to read with our Bible reading plan throughout the rest of the week, and join us next Monday for another Thrive Chapter Spotlight. Thanks. Have a good week.